And we are back.
We're back, bumble bitches.
Season 2, episode 23 of the To Be Better podcast.
I'm so glad you're keeping track.
I looked right before I sat down.
Perfect.
I have to check every time. Today is a new day.
It is.
I mean, every day is a new day. Duh.
Right.
But we are changing things effective today. So today is May 6th.
Oh, before we get into changes, this is my husband, Chris.
Oh, and this is my wife, Peaches.
Hi, guys.
Peach.
Ooh, I almost touched it. I stopped.
She's no longer 2. I'm trying really hard to remember that you don't want to be Peaches, that you just want to be Peach.
You can call me Peaches. It works.
I prefer that, actually.
Yeah, you can call me Peaches.
Either one works for you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Because some people call me Peach. And then they get corrected. And they're like, oh no, so sorry. And I'm like, well, either or.
Okay.
So
well,
now both are out there.
That works. That makes my life a whole lot easier.
You can call me whatever the fuck you want, Daddy.
Ooh. I'm going to stall by opening my soda and taking a drink as I try to regain my composure there.
While you do that, you guys, I did my first, well, not my first, but it was a cooking video, and I made my first 3-tier cake, and the video went pretty okay. Some people attempted the cake, and there was flour all over the place, and other people attempted the cake, and it came out pretty better than mine.
Somebody was like, I obviously missed a step.
Yeah. So there was requests for the heart attack corn that I make. What is that? Tune in to find out. And I think, I don't think I've decided. These are me choosing my words because my husband wants to get to the point of things. I've decided. I'm a little nervous to tell you this.
Okay, so this is new.
I'm going to make 10 different types of pickles. And they're all going to be in a refrigerator.
Why?
Because I'm on a pickle kick right now. And I just want to see what I can make and what's good and what's not. And I'm going to make a cooking video out of it.
Okay.
Yay.
Are you going to make 10 separate cooking videos, or is this just going to be one video of pickles?
It's just going to be one video of pickles.
Okay. You're going to make them all in one shot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are they even going to be spicy?
Yes.
I like spicy pickles.
Yep. So there's going to be spicy ones. There's going to be some sweet ones. There's going to be some fun flavor ones just to see how they turn out.
I don't like that.
They'll all be labeled. It's not going to be a mystery. I would never do that to
you. I mean, yeah, you would. Try this. What is it? It's a pickle. Why does it taste like peanut butter and jelly with no bread?
But is it good?
It's a pickle. Peanut butter and pickles. That's funny.
I'm pretty excited about it.
I've eaten a peanut butter and jalapeno sandwich.
Really?
It's actually not bad.
Peanut butter and jalapeno.
Yep.
No jam or jelly?
Nope, just peanut butter and jalapenos. I've also had a peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich, which sounds really gross, which is actually pretty good.
No fucking way.
Yep.
I gotta stop. No heckin' way.
Yep. So real quick, we are, today's May 6th. Today is the change of our new schedule. The banter that you guys are currently getting is going to be decreased for YouTube. We are going to do a lot more get to the point. So it's going to cut from this to me getting to the point when I'm done with this little intro thing that I'm giving you. I'm going to be cutting out the back and forth shit that we do, because we are going to continue doing that. And then we are going to put that directly to Patreon.
Yes.
So as we give life updates is what's happening, it's relevant as to what is currently happening, not in June when this releases. So Patreon's going to start getting more content in that factor. Starting on the first Friday of June, which I think is the 7th. I'm probably wrong. I think I'm wrong, so I'm going to double check because I'm probably wrong.
Double checking. Nah, fuck. Oh, I keep saying that.
It is the 7th. June 7th is the first Friday of June.
Okay.
Which is also when we'll be in Vegas.
Okay.
So starting June 7th, we are no longer putting Friday content to YouTube at all. We may do recycled content every once in a while, or if there is an episode that we did that we really liked, that we think is going to add a whole lot of value, or we've done a new series and we want to give you guys a taste of it, we'll put that to YouTube. But all of the Friday content, things like the I versus you videos, the flood videos, the postpartum, because that was the one that will drop the Friday before that. So that'll be last Friday's episode by the time you get this content. the postpartum anxiety, the anger videos, all the things that we have in the works currently that we're going to be working on will only go to Patreon. So our schedule will look like Monday podcast on YouTube and all downloads, Spotify, Apple, whatever. Live stream on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time on YouTube. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Sunday night will be a live stream, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. And then our Patreon live is immediately after that between 7:30 and 8 and goes until we decide to wrap it up, also on Sunday nights.
Oh, wait, no, this is for YouTube.
Yeah.
My apologies. Never mind.
We will be doing Zoom calls still through Patreon that will probably get recycled to YouTube because we want that content getting out there. And in the event that we do one-on-one coaching calls where there has been it's cool to record this and use it for content, we will. But for the most part, we are trying to focus the 2 live streams a week and the main podcast to YouTube only, and everything else that we do moving forward will be Patreon content. Your cooking videos, any extra bonus content that we do.
My shenanigans.
Yeah. I was going to say, what are you smirking at? We can put all that to YouTube. Yeah. I will be recording my first episode of Voice of the Broken today. Well, this week. I'm not going to do it today because it's already fucking noon. And you got to go pick up the kids in 2 hours. So
yeah, hopefully, not hopefully, but if possible.
Yeah.
They're sick.
So the Voice of the Broken is going to get recorded this week. I don't know if I'm going to record it here in my whiskey room. I don't know if I'm going to do it at the studio. But I am going to sit down and read emails from men who have been at the point of wanting to eliminate themselves to their success stories. And I want to break down what they're going through. Hopefully I get detailed stories about their trials and tribulations and then their success, because we can give their testimony that way. And we want to be able to give people hope and do it from a man's perspective for men, because even though our podcast is relationship, most of the listeners are women by like 65, 60, 70%, somewhere in there. I know that there are men who listen to the podcast, and I would like to be able to reach more men. So I'm going to start doing that. If you guys listen to the podcast and you have a story like that and you are able to write a very detailed email, go to thevoiceofthebroken.com, click the send email thing, or it should open a tab. It'll send it where it needs to go. It'll give the subject line so that the email screeners can put it where it needs to go, and then we can move forward with that.
I love that.
Hopefully it does something.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does something.
Can we? Oh, sorry.
I don't know if I'll post it on here. It may end up on its own YouTube channel. I have not made that decision yet, but I haven't recorded one, so right now it doesn't matter.
Right.
But
can we set up something like that for the garden?
A website?
Yeah.
We'd have to buy a domain.
Okay.
But yeah, we could.
That'd be dope.
We'll have to look at that. What would you want for your domain name?
I'm thinking about it right now. Okay. Something with the garden in it.
Right. The garden with peaches or something like that. The garden by peaches.
But I want it to be more focused on asking questions. Like, I don't know why I'm really, really hung up on. Do you remember when we were on vacation somewhere? How fantastic of me to just say, remember that one time? Because I can't be specific because we do it so often. Holy shit. I love you. I love our life.
Our life is dope.
We were watching a documentary about Betty Crocker and how that became a thing, and other competitors making the easy bake cakes, and she did a radio show, Betty Crocker. I want to say it was Betty Crocker.
It was Betty Crocker, but it wasn't Betty Crocker that did the radio show. They hired a voice actress.
Right.
And their publicity team got
Betty
recipes
Crocker
together and did that. And that was all a publicity stunt.
Right. But they started writing into her.
Yep.
And she started answering questions.
And they started hiring housewives.
Right.
To actually handwrite emails, and all of them signed Betty Crocker. Right.
Yeah. I remember that part.
Yep.
Because they had all of the women write out Betty Crocker, and they chose one woman, and they all had to learn how she wrote it.
That one woman was the CEO's secretary.
Crazy.
Yep. And that's where the Betty Crocker logo came from.
My goodness. Handwriting. Well, I'm real, guys. It's me, Peach. I want women to be able to write in and request a recipe, or if your husband was struggling with this, how would you support him? And I could be cooking and answering questions, or
I think that would make for dope content.
Right. Crocheting and answering questions. I want to create an environment of like you're talking to your sister, or you're talking to your mom or your great grandma. I can't wait to be a great grandma. I can't wait to be super old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm enjoying my youth. I know it's fleeting.
Yep. Time is one thing
So-
that defeats everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. You guys are now going to get the emails as we've wasted 10 minutes, but Patreon's probably going to get another 15 or 20. So, all right, let's do some emails. Before we get into the emails, as I just talked over you, as you were saying, okay, do you want to talk about the women's group for YouTube?
Yeah, we can.
You want to just tell them what you're doing so that they're aware of it, and then we can get into the emails?
So I have decided that, like my husband, I want to do a group that is focused on women. He has a men's group, and I'm going to be doing a women's group. It is going to be, for now, limited to 10 women. It's going to be $100 a month. And in this group, this will be accessed through our Patreon. You will have access to a private Discord. I will be accessible through that private Discord pretty much all of the time. There will be, at minimum, a monthly phone call as I deem fit. We could do more than that. Oh, there was something else. What was it?
The books. Book
The
breakdowns.
books. Yep. There will be book breakdowns.
But that's more of a general discussion, not you
Yeah.
breaking down books.
Right. So
This is what I'm reading. What
Right.
did you guys think of it? Book club.
I think I'm also going to use it as a group for me to bounce ideas off of. So, not guinea pigs. You guys aren't going to be guinea pigs, I promise. But as I'm working on podcast episodes, if I'm doing a book breakdown and I'm having a thought process, I'm going to hit that women's group and be like, does this sound stupid? I need your guys' opinion on this breakdown point that I'm doing. So, it's going to be a small community of women where we can problem solve, relate, share recipes, ask mom questions, relationship questions. Like I said, you guys are going to have pretty much unlimited access to me within that women's group. And as I get a hold of things, and I was going to say gain the reins, but that's not the phrase. What's the phrasing? With the reins.
Take control of the reins.
Take control of the reins. Gain control of the reins. As I get my chaos under control. That
Gain
number.
my bearings.
And gain my bearings. That's a really good way.
Yeah.
You really are my better half, babe. Better half. As I gain my bearings, that number will increase from 10 to 20. 20 sounds like a safe number. And it will probably increase by 10 or 15 increments as I get a better control of things.
My men's group is still not filled all the way. I bumped it from 20 to 30, and it's at almost 10. It's over 10 with the people who are there, like helping. But I think that men's group is dope. I think that you'll end up benefiting from this more than you think you will, because it's benefited me. I've also been thinking about the coaching calls, and I don't know if I want to take clients on like a permanent basis. I think when we start doing coaching calls, we should create a questionnaire. And if they want to schedule a call, we could put the price, and then when they click it, it'll give them the questionnaire. They can fill the questionnaire out and we can read it, and then decide whether or not we want to take on the call or work with them. And then that way we have right of refusal.
I agree with that.
So that way we're not scheduled to do shit that we don't want to do, or if we don't want to work a certain day, we don't have to.
Yeah.
So, but I think that we need to sit down and figure out the coaching calls too.
I agree.
Because I do want to do that. I just don't want to do it in a way that it takes up so much of our free time.
Right. I was thinking, because I have my life scheduled out right now the way that I do, I was thinking we could dedicate a day of the week.
I was thinking the same thing. Excuse me.
Work for 10 hours.
How many?
10 hours?
No.
Oh, well, that will be my day. I'm going to be up early.
Nope. I couldn't. Nope.
It's not going to be 10 hours of me talking to people.
Okay.
So, to clarify, it's going to be 10 hours of, comprised in that. But I imagine the 10-hour workday, including lunch break and getting notes together.
I would be willing to take 5 calls in a day.
What, in an hour a piece?
If that's what it was, if that's what we were selling, yeah.
Okay.
But I think 5 hours of that, I would be done.
Okay.
I know.
I agree, yeah.
I know that we can do 2 podcasts. It's 5 to 6 hours, and I'm good with that. And I know that going from person to person would give me different interactions, so it would be new phone calls every time. But I think after 5 hours, my brain would be shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We need to sit down and figure that out because people keep asking about it, and I do want to do that. But
I agree.
I also think the people asking think that it's going to be free, and I'm not working for free ever again. That shit's done. So, all right, let's jump into some emails if you're ready.
All right. So this email is titled Dishonestly. I think you meant dishonestly. Is that a word?
Dishonestly?
Yeah. Dishonestly and healing. Monthly member. Update included. Hello. I have asked a question on your TikTok live and you asked that I send an email. Decided to join your Patreon as well. Have been following you on TikTok and YouTube for a few months. My husband and I have been married for 7 years. We both had very traumatic childhoods. Neither of us had examples on how to be a husband/wife. With that, we have come into the relationship completely broken. We winged it for 7 years until the pandemic hit. He spent a lot of his time at home, and I, a healthcare worker, worked all the time. We completely fell apart.
That lockdown shit fucked up a lot of people.
It did, yeah.
That lockdown shit, that 6 months of lockdown, which was a year in some places, actually put us back years in terms of schooling and developmental, like behavioral things because of the downtime from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I hate that it happened, but I'm glad that it did because I don't think they'll ever be able to do that to us again.
Oh, I agree. I think it woke a lot of people up to the manipulation of things.
Yeah, well, not enough. Too many people still dick ride the government way too fucking hard.
Yeah.
But it's fear.
That
whole thing was fear. That death count being on TV fucked with everybody's psychological. We're not meant to see that. Like,
I was absolutely terrified. I would check it every morning.
Yeah. Well, it would stay on the bottom of the TV all the time.
Yeah.
If you turned on the news, it was on there. If you turned on the regular television on some channels, it was on there.
Yeah.
So, but it was fear mongering.
Yes, it was.
You know that Apple said that the way that the Apple, not Oculus, the Vision Pro or wherever it is, the new goggles that they have, it records your eye movements. We talked about this a little bit, but they said that they would be able to tell your sexual orientation within seconds of you using it. They will find out the things that make you obsessed, make you anxious, that excite you, that in good or bad ways, and all of that data is collected. So in the event that anybody wants the data on the American populace about how to make us afraid, or the world population, it's all fucking there. And they can then force that information to our feeds to fucking manipulate and control. I don't know. I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know why I just got into all that, and I did. It's because of the email, but I'm going to stop at that, not go much further.
Back into the email. He added a girl on Facebook that was sent to deliver a message from a mutual friend who didn't have Facebook, but something inside of me just didn't feel good about this. This friendship pushed me so far away.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I thought that doesn't make sense to me either. He had added a girl on Facebook that was sent to deliver a message from a mutual friend who didn't have Facebook.
Well, if they were mutual friends, why didn't they text each other or Instagram or WhatsApp?
If you don't have my phone number or me on Facebook, you don't have anything to say to me.
Right. There are so many means of communication.
Right.
Okay, so that's bullshit then. I call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
If we were busy and I was like, hey, can you message so-and-so real quick about this because I'm driving? I can see that. I'm driving right now.
I would be using your phone,
them,
though.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you know them too. Hey, can you message Zach real quick about blah, blah, blah? Or can ask Jenny this about this email? That's normal life shit. Like we're friends in business and like doing life things. Hey, can you see if Caitlin and Javier definitely want to play D&D? That's realistic, right? And that's solely on a friendship level. So I can see that. But to be like, hey, can you message John Doe and be like, I know you have him on Facebook, I don't. So send him a message and tell him I said, meet me for dinner Friday at Starbucks. Coffee or whatever, not dinner.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Hey, so-and-so died. Do you have him on your Facebook? Yeah, go tell him that so-and-so died. That could be a thing.
Right.
Because they're not mutual friends. They're acquaintances. You guys get way too comfortable calling a motherfucker a friend. You guys get too comfortable using the term friends, mutual friends. You're not friends. You guys know each other.
Right.
You're acquaintances. The idea of somebody being your friend means that they're there to listen to your victories. Did you?
Yeah.
It's lunchtime.
Do you want
apparently.
Outback?
Maybe.
Okay.
The idea of having everybody just be your friend, or you using that term, means that you don't really know what a friend is. If somebody's like, oh, you know somebody? Yeah, I know them. I'm not going to call them my friend. If I called them at 3 o'clock in the morning and I needed help, or I was wanting to celebrate my victory and they weren't willing to celebrate with me, and I don't mean getting drunk. I mean like, yo, this happened today. I just paid my house off. Oh my God, dude, that's so amazing. You're debt free. That's fucking badass. If those aren't the people that you're calling friends, you don't have no friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's we should be more intentional with our speech. That's it.
I'm going to say this, over my dead body is Steve going to have some random chick named Katie add you on Facebook and say, hey, Steve told me to let you know this. And then all of a sudden you guys are just talking.
Right.
That's a problem for me. And then that goes back to, you don't know what a friend is. There's no boundaries. That's the chink in your armor. And somebody who is sneaky is going to see that and 100% try to weasel their way in.
Yeah. You're a messenger. You're a messenger boy. Mm-hmm. Hey, tell so-and-so. Okay. You're a messenger. So that's how that would have went. Steve said for me to tell you blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool. And then I'm going to message Steve when I have some free time.
Right.
And then Steve and I are going to have a conversation. That's how that works. I don't need to have a conversation with you, especially if we're mutual friends.
Right. I don't know you.
Right. Well, no, but that's just it. If they were mutual friends, they would know each other. She would have already been on his Facebook and they would have already established a relationship, because that's how friendships work.
Oh, I did say mutual friend. Okay. I missed the mutual
Did they say
friend.
we were mutual friends, or it was because of a mutual friend?
He added a girl on Facebook that was sent to deliver a message from a mutual friend.
Okay, so that's different. Okay, I'm wrong in that. So that's different.
So
they
both
know
knew the
same
person,
right.
but they didn't know each other. Yeah.
Okay. Glad we were able to correct that before somebody else saw it in comments. It was like, hey, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Haha. Because having a mutual friend and being mutuals as friends is not the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, that would make me very uncomfortable. If I had a friend have some random dude add me on Facebook and send me a message, and then that dude try to continue to forge a friendship. So like, what are you doing today?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah. All right, so this friendship pushed me so far away. I told him I had a bad feeling about her, and he said that she hadn't done anything wrong. It wasn't much later that I divorced him. Because of that? Oh, no, that's right. You guys were already rocky. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, but that's still a pretty extreme situation.
Yeah.
And there's a lot we could talk about in that, but let's keep going and we'll see if we have to come back to it.
We were apart for 3 years. Even after divorcing, we still tried to make it work. What a mess we made. We ended up both having rebound relationships. I tried dating, but it was awful. I didn't feel right. I felt like I was cheating, even though we were divorced, and he ended up in a situationship. We got back together 1.5 years ago. He asked me if I had been with anyone and told him about my dating experience. He told me he couldn't have been with anyone because he wasn't like that, but he still loved me. It didn't feel right to him to go be with someone else.
But yet he was in a situationship, so that's bullshit. That's
he
a
lied.
lie. Yeah.
That comes across as... So he did the exact same thing, looked down on her for doing it while simultaneously putting himself on a pedestal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a manipulation thing.
I'm good on that. Flash forward to this past January, a Facebook glitch showed me a post where he commented on this girl's page a heart emoji with a comment, "You're welcome, love." The post was her thanking him for picking out her hairstyle. There was not a single context where you would be able to calm me down from freaking out over you calling somebody else love.
Okay. That's definitely where your mind went.
That is definitely where my mind went.
Not where mine went at all.
Because you call me love.
Right.
We've had conversations early on in the podcast where there are certain things that you call your partner that you reserve for your partner.
That's correct. That is correct. And you were right. Those pet names are those pet names.
Right.
But I also think that it's important to remember that there are people that talk like that. Now, if that's out of character for him,
right,
that's a problem.
If he's not a good old Southern boy,
right,
and his mama didn't raise him to call people sweetheart and love,
right,
it's a different conversation. Yeah.
Yep.
And my husband doesn't do that, by the way.
I don't.
So.
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. All the time. I ain't calling nobody beautiful or love or babe.
He's calling me that.
Right.
I read that and I switched myself and I triggered myself, guys. I wanted to set shit on fire.
So then read the second part of that again and see if you see where you feel about that.
The post was her thanking him for picking out her hairstyle.
Because that's where my brain went.
That's a very intimate thing to do.
It absolutely fucking is. Nobody asks a random person
right
for their input on their appearance unless there is something intimate happening there.
Right.
Because they're doing it to please that person.
Yeah.
If you messaged some other dude and was like, "Hey, what color should I get my nails done?" No.
Did you just make yourself mad?
No, I'm not mad about that.
Yeah.
I would know immediately.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's something there.
Yeah.
Even if nothing physical has happened, even if there's no emotional cheating, you are attracted to this person. You want their opinion on what you should look like.
You want to look
to be
good
pleasing to them. Mm-hmm. So unless she put a poll out of, "Hey guys, what color should I dye my hair?" and she just picked what everyone picked, and that was the scenario. But even then, why do you care? Like, you're just trying to people please a whole fucking slew of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, content creators, I can see doing that because there's a whole get ready with me thing. What do you think of my shirt? That kind of shit. That's popular right now. I think that's a whole lot like that specific scenario would be very NPC to me. But
yeah,
her asking him if he was like, "Hey, you should dye your hair this way," and she did it, there is something there. I would be more hung up on that than the love statement. Because I heard the love thing and I'm like, okay, some people just talk like that.
Right.
So I skipped right over that and went right to the other thing, and you focused on the love thing and I focused on the back end.
Yeah.
Men are oblivious though, right? Like, there are things that we don't look as threatening like you guys do.
Right.
But that's also because we haven't been trained to think that if somebody calls you sweetheart, that they're fucking flirting with you either.
Right. Well, women also prey on that.
I know they do.
Right. So me being protective the way that I am is because I have seen women prey on the men who don't know those things.
Right.
So the unsuspecting husband who doesn't know that he's feeding into somebody else's attention meter doesn't understand why these two women are fuming. Yeah. This
is also why there could be people who are having an open phone policy where somebody digs through a phone looking for something and then finds something like that he views as completely innocent, that's clearly not fucking innocent, and then these kind of conversations happen where it can be really bad because you pissed yourself off by reading that.
I did, and now I'm also pissing myself off further because if you went to another woman and said you should dye your hair split dye, why are you telling her that?
Right.
The little me in my brain is sitting here with a box of matches.
Yeah.
Just flicking them.
Why are you flicking them at me?
No, just at the room.
Okay, because you aimed it at me.
Well, it's just away from me.
I'm not doing that.
No, this is me in my little bubble in my brain.
Right.
You're not in my bubble in my brain.
Subconsciously throwing them at me. Throw that shit over there.
Okay, well, I'll consciously to make it feel better. This is me accommodating my husband so he knows he's not the problem.
There you go.
I am very, very possessive. And I expect my husband to be possessive in the same way. I 100% expect my energy to be matched. If you were possessive that way, and then I was just totally lackadaisical, there's an issue with our relationship. Or vice versa. That's how I view that. I don't know. Okay.
You know what's really crazy?
What's that?
Is you are that way and not being called a controlling manipulator.
No.
And I am.
No.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what else do we got going on in there? Because that's a huge fucking problem. That tells me that there's an intimacy thing there.
Red flag.
Red flag.
A few months earlier on his birthday, he got a random message and I could see the look on his face. The smile I saw was a Tinder smile. He was genuinely happy at that message. I asked and he told me that it was a male friend.
Was there context to the message or just that
That's it.
A guy sent a message?
Guy sent the message.
Because I could give a tender smile if I was, hey, my baby was born today.
Right.
Congrats, bro. I love that for you. I just got engaged.
Yeah.
Got a raise. Right? Like, I get excited for my friends' victories. I think that's just dope. But when somebody texts me, who is that? I give you context.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking hide from you.
Yeah. And vice versa.
It is a guy. Don't worry about it. It's a guy. No, I'm gonna really worry about it now because you just deflected like a motherfucker, bro. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're parrying blows and shit, and like you're on guard. The fuck is the problem?
Y'all, I'm coming back out dressed up like the puppet from Jigsaw. We're going to play a game. You're going to tell me who it is, buddy. A guy? Who? Who's this guy? Is this someone you went to college with? Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just listening. You really do go to the Jigsaw thing a lot, and I'm starting to fear for my safety.
No, you shouldn't have to.
You smacked my hand the other day while I was reaching for a fucking strawberry. I'm being abused, guys. Next thing you know, my head's going to be in a fucking trap. The key's going to be in my stomach. It's
No.
going to be fucking weird.
No.
I do agree that they should be asking those questions.
Yeah.
That's not something that you just let slide. I also think that there should be an open communication and that people should volunteer that information because, and there might be psychology that speaks otherwise about this. And I think that there might be, which is why I'm even giving that disclaimer. But I think that when people voluntarily give you the information, most of the time you're going to get more truth than not.
Right.
Because they're just talking to you. If you start probing questions and make them have to think about what's going on, or they have to get defensive or like get taken back on their heels about something, they're not going to be as honest. Because now I have to think about what I'm saying. What if they're going to view this situation poorly, or I have to, I just don't see that as being truthful.
Right.
I also know that there are people who do lie, give a whole lot of voluntary information, and then fuck themselves because the voluntary word vomit contradicts a lie that they told in the past, so they can tend to keep that.
Right.
So.
Back into the email. It's come out finally that he has been with that girl the week our divorce was final. It lasted 3 months. They hung out, slept together, bought each other birthday presents. She sent me screenshots of everything he was denying. He finally came clean and told me his side of the story, which I don't to this day completely believe. I truly believe at this point he's really trying to change. He turned his location on, gave me all of his passwords, and he seems much better. But I can't get past the hurt. I'm devastated inside because we got back together on what I feel was false pretenses. Yes, we remarried. So I agree that it's false pretenses because he lied. Oh, this isn't that bad.
Not very filling, though.
I like this. I'm going to make these.
Yeah.
But they're going to be like actual
snacks instead of
granola oat bars, yeah. With real fruit and whatnot.
Yeah. I think the issue here is that she lied. Or that he lied. Had he just simply said it's none of your business, we were divorced, maybe she wouldn't feel the same way. Maybe she would. Maybe they wouldn't have gotten back together if he had slept with another person.
Right.
There's obviously something there, though, if he's still communicating with this chick and doing that.
Right.
This isn't the same chick that he created a friendship with, though, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. I was kind of confused on that. I think this is the girl that he added. I don't know. There's no clarification on that.
Well, then let's not speculate on it.
All right. So he finally came clean. I can't get past the hurt. I feel like a fool most days. and I can't get past the pain or the lack of trust now. I don't know what to do. He's trying to be real with me now, and I can feel that most days. But then there are days like today that I can't get out of the pain. I can't stop thinking about what happened, how the deceit broke me, how I'm still angry with him, and how I know I'll love him, and how I know I love him so much that I want it to work. It's a mess being in my head and heart right now. I don't want to push him away, and he says he's here no matter how long it takes to heal. What would you guys recommend? I really want and need to hear your very honest opinions, even if they hurt my feelings.
You need to go over this shit. You slept with somebody else also.
Right.
The fact that, or that you dated somebody else. Either way, you guys got divorced. You ended your marriage. So whether or not you guys decided to get back together when that marriage ended, that shit is no more a concern to you. It's done. That's it. Even if you guys didn't get divorced, well, I guess maybe that doesn't count, but this is just one of those things that you have to get over this. If you love this man like you say you do and you want it to work no matter what, you need to forgive him and move the fuck on, because you're tormenting yourself over something that you have no control over, and you are dealing with a different person than you were before.
Yeah.
He came clean. He told you what was going on, and I honestly don't feel like he owed you that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you owed it to him to tell him that you had a relationship.
I would focus the conversation on why did you feel the need to lie to me? That would be what I'm hung up on the most out of all of it, right? I don't care that you fucked somebody else. Yes, it hurts me now. Why didn't you tell me the truth when we had the conversation? Because I told you that I did that. I was honest with you. So there shouldn't have been a need of, oh, she didn't sleep with anybody, so now I need to look buttoned up, right?
I can see that. So,
like you were saying, at this point, there's nothing that can be done about the 3-month relationship that they had. It's a subscription. That's a 3-month subscription. He chose you, right? I would focus on, why didn't you just tell me?
Well, in order to do that, you're going to have to look inward.
And be ready for all of the critiques or criticisms.
She won't get it, though. She won't get the criticisms or critiques.
Because he won't give them?
Right.
Or she won't understand them.
Why would he? And to be clear, this is not me bulldozing my wife. This is us having a dialogue.
I fucking hate that you had to say that.
I fucking hate that we have to do a lot of things that we do. It's actually decreased the enjoyment that I have from all of this, because I'm in my head the entire time we were doing it, because I'm worried about other people's interpretation of the things that we are doing and the way that they feel about us.
That's how I felt for months.
How can you expect your person to be 100% forthcoming with you after the fact of things if they didn't feel like they could be forthcoming with you in the moment, the throe of what's happening? So he could be a coward, right? Could be a complete fucking just cowardly person. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with conflict. Maybe he's not a coward. Maybe he just doesn't like conflict. Maybe he didn't see a reason to create unnecessary nonsense. That could be a scenario. Another scenario could be that he knew how you would take it and didn't want to deal with it, or he knew how you would take it and didn't think that the relationship would be resolved. So he did what he thought was going to be necessary to rekindle the relationship that he wanted back. There's a whole lot of things that go into this. How much of this do you think was done out of malicious intent? That's the real question.
Oh, intentionally to hurt her. That's a good question.
Or intentionally not to hurt her.
Okay, elaborate on that for me, because I was thinking, right, malicious intent to hurt her. So him admitting that he had a 3-month relationship.
Admitting, like admitting or omitting?
Omitting.
Okay.
Omitting. Thank you for correcting
I
that.
didn't hear you. I wasn't sure what you said.
Yeah.
So I was clarifying.
Okay.
Probing questions.
I also recognize within myself sometimes I just say words wrong.
Yeah.
So him omitting the 3-month relationship could have been his attempt to not be malicious to her. Is that where you're going with that?
It could have been to protect her. Maybe he felt like he was saving her from unnecessary pain. Because it was 3 months. The relationship didn't, like, she called it a situationship. So it wasn't serious. It didn't last. Just speaking solely on that, not on the text message that came after the fact or whatever.
Right.
But in that scenario, I don't know. I wouldn't want to know. It really wouldn't want to know. But if that was us, and I knew that you weren't going to take it well, I have the option of omitting that, knowing that you may never find out, or intentionally breaking your heart and telling you that it happened. Because one of them is a maybe and the other one is a definitive.
Right.
And if I told you, you know, right after we got divorced, I met this chick, we had a 3-month fling, it was kind of cool, but like it ended. You're going to be hurt over that. Because you would have, people, not you, people, some, think that there should be a grieving period after a divorce. And like, if you go from a divorce to a new relationship right away, you're wrong for that. And we think that you should be doing your due diligence, but divorces can take years sometimes.
I think people go through that grieving process before the decision of divorce is even had.
I think that people go through that fucking grieving process while they're still married and divorce isn't even on the table yet.
Yeah.
You know how many people that I know personally who fucking should have ended their marriages way before it ended? Yeah. Some people just aren't meant to be together anymore. People grow apart. Situations change. You have to protect your peace at all costs. And if you are a teammate with somebody and your relationship is going really fucking good and things start to get rocky, you need to fix that shit. Yeah. That is you protecting your peace, not distancing yourself. If you get to a point where you don't believe things are repairable and that's the option, then you need to protect your peace by leaving. And you don't owe anybody anything. You can just be like, look, this isn't working for me. I want a divorce. You don't owe an explanation. You not wanting to be there enough needs to be your explanation. And they may need more than that, and that's a them problem. I'm real comfortable just being like, yo, have a great life.
Thanks for being here while you were here.
Right. Thanks for the memories.
Yeah.
Thanks for the memories.
Even though they weren't so great.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I just don't. I don't know. I don't understand why people get so hung up on you owe me this.
Entitlement, selfishness.
Technically, it's narcissism.
Narcissism. You're right. It does boil down to.
It's selfishness.
I am so important. You have to give this to me.
Right.
Because I am so important in your life. I am owed this.
Right. Yeah. Well, that speaks to ownership. It does. Yeah. You have to do this to satiate my needs. Your needs are your problem. My needs are my problem. And you can look at that as narcissistic or selfish if you want to also. But I'm not responsible for your happiness. I'm responsible for mine. And I am responsible for trying to make the relationship of us happy. Right? So in that situation, maybe his view of making the relationship of us happy was a safer choice by omitting that he was with this chick than being honest and talking about it. I'm not saying that it's the right answer because I'm not in that relationship. I'm just saying that this is a possibility.
Right.
If you and I had a falling out and we separated and didn't get divorced, we just separated, and we decided to work things through, I would probably ask you if you were with anybody else just because I think that would be part of the healing process of trying to reconnect, reestablish a foundation. Because I would want to court. This would also depend on how long we've been apart. If it was 5 months and we were talking that entire 5 months, I wouldn't worry about it. If it was 3 years, 3 years of living without somebody, we need to get to know each other all over again. Because I know how much can change in 6 months to a year with no contact, right? If we were talking every day during that 3-year period, I wouldn't have to ask those questions because I would still know you.
Right.
But if we took a real hiatus and met back up, and we would have to reignite our foundation, our fire. We'd have to learn each other again. So those conversations would be pertinent. Pertinent would be prudent or pertinent. Otherwise, those questions wouldn't need to be asked. I wouldn't want to know the details of it. But in a 3-year span, I would want to know about the relationships. Not because I'm going to get hurt that you were with somebody. 3 years is a long fucking time.
Right.
But I would want to know how the relationships went. Were you abused? Were they good relationships? Was there financial struggles? Is your credit still okay? Like, what's happened during that 3-year span? I need to get to know you again. Those relationships could change who you are fundamentally as a person.
Right.
This relationship has changed my fucking life. And it didn't take long for that realization to come into fruition for me. And since then, we've been building a whole lot of new shit. So maybe your outlook as things have changed. Maybe your religion has changed. Your religion has changed. Maybe your politics has changed. Maybe you have a kid now that I don't know about, right? Like those kind of questions need to be asked. But it's not coming from a place of, I can't believe you did that. But if that's what he was worried about, I could see why he would want to admit those facts.
Right.
However, those kind of things are going to come up. If that relationship ended and your relationship has started and there's been a bunch of time in between, why are you going back and looking for shit? Especially if you're happy now. You're living in the past. Why are you worried about that shit when you could be worried about this shit?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm real big lately on the past is doesn't exist.
Yeah, I've been heavy on that right now too, oddly enough. Like just focusing on the past, like did it really even happen?
Oh, it happened, and you got to deal with the consequences of the shit.
Right.
But I'm not living in that.
Yeah.
It's Adlerian psychology. The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. It will, and it will come to be the past. But right now is what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about that past shit. I'm not worried about that the bridges that have burned. I can build another bridge. Sometimes those bridges were no longer serving my needs. That bridge was unsafe. I got a whole lot of shit now that I got to carry from one side of this gorge to the other. And I'm looking at that bridge going, I don't trust that bridge. I got too much good shit going on right now to really worry about how safe that bridge is going to be.
Right.
Let me go ahead and burn this, use the foundation of where this bridge once was in a way that's going to put some real trust in the next one that's going to be built. So that when I'm walking across that bridge, all the shit that I got with me that I've worked on is secure. How's that for a relationship metaphor? Some people around you aren't fucking safe.
You want to hear the update? We are still trying to work through the issues. I still have my feelings about all of this. But now if it gets discussed, he gets very angry because we should be past this.
Right. Because he's trying to live in the now and you're still living in the past.
Right. Almost borderline defensive. Sometimes he seems like he's not present when we're together. He lives 3 hours away for work. I didn't move with him because we have these issues and our children/grandchildren are here in our hometown.
So you're living separate lives.
Yeah.
So of course he's going to seem not present. You're living different lives and you're living different lives with conflict.
Right.
This is conflict to him. If you took him back under the pretense of you're going to forgive, even though he lied, right? Because he did. Yet you love him enough that you want to make this work no matter what. Then you need to show him that you love him no matter what. Because this is one of those things that falls into the no matter what category. So you either lied and you don't want to be with him no matter what.
Yeah.
And that was a false statement. Or you just need to get over this. Because what's happening right now is all of this is pushing him further away from you.
Yeah.
If he's trying to live in the now and you're trying to live in the past and you're not able to get over your hurt, which is a you problem, and he is doing the things that he should be doing to, you have an open phone policy. You can see the shit. He's being forthcoming. He's trying. Mustache hair on my lip. And he's trying, and you are not reciprocating that by continuously throwing up the past in his face. Why would he continue to try? It's different to be like, hey, I thought about that time today and it hurt me a little bit. I'm a little sad. I just want you to know.
Right.
So if I'm off for a little bit, this is why.
That's why.
That's different. It's a very different scenario because you're informing him of what's going on with you. That's healthy. But if you're trying to redrudge up shit and create arguments, you are choosing to create conflict in your now over something that cannot be changed, adjusted, or altered in any way, shape, or form.
Yep.
That happened. I can accept that happened and I can move forward or I can continue to dwell on it. Both of those things are a choice.
Is that the end of your thought? I wanted to touch on, so the emailer says he lives 3 hours away for work. I didn't move with him because we had these issues. So I want to pause there. You have an issue right now. You guys aren't having issues. He is doing everything that he can to make you feel comfortable in the relationship.
Assuming.
She even said that I can see that he's putting the work in.
Okay.
So he's doing the thing from this emailer's words.
Okay.
So you're the one who has the issue. And I don't think living separate is going to solve that issue.
I don't either.
And then you go on to say, our children and grandchildren are here in our hometown. So this is me assuming all of your children are grown. They all have grandkids because you said grandchildren. Or they don't all have grandkids, but they're all living out on their own and you were just living by yourself. I would move 3 hours away from my children to be with my husband. I would move to Thailand when my children are grown to be with my husband. Right. Guess what, kids? You have a super dope place to come vacation when you come to visit. Like,
time to create your own family. Live your life. Don't worry about living mine.
I cannot wait to FaceTime you every Saturday. Like, yeah. There's so much going on in my brain right now, and I'm trying to like catch the one fly that makes the most sense. Could you say that kind of mindset, I'm not going to move 3 hours away because our children and our grandkids live here, would fall into she's lost her identity as a wife and as a person, and now she is really relying heavily on being a mom?
Maybe.
I did say could.
Yeah, maybe. So. I think that could be a part of it. I also think that people have close relationships to their kids and don't want to move away.
Yeah.
But what does that say about your marriage? Because you're putting the relationship with your children and grandkids over your marriage.
Right.
And eventually those kids are going to grow up and have their own families, and you're going to be grandma. And like, you're going to be great grandma one day.
Yeah.
Don't you want your marriage to work so that you're not the single grandma who's fucking lonely the rest of the time when the kids are off living their lives? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Kids are going to grow up.
They are. And
you can do your best to have a relationship with them, and that can be really good, or it could not. But those are relationships. It's not an owed thing. Just because you share DNA doesn't mean that you are owed anything in life.
Yep.
Relationships have to have a bond, and they have to be worked at from both sides. And you can do that at a distance. I have friends that live out of state that I talk to when I think about them, or when they think about me. There's nothing wrong with that. So...
Yep. So,
what was the stat that you said that you spend 95 or 85% of the time that you spend with your kids is when they're children?
So, 95% of the time that you will be spending with your children is in their childhood. 75% of that time is before the age of 12.
It really puts things in perspective.
Holy shit, right?
So if your kids are older than 12, it's definitely something to consider. You're going to have maybe 6 more years where you get to spend time with them. I wonder what that 12 to 18 time is. Or 12 to 20. Well, I mean, you even look at that. The kids who stay living at home until they're in their mid-20s, you're not spending time with your parents at that point. You're roommates.
Right.
It's not like you're hanging out fucking going on dates and going to the playground and fucking... parent-kid dates. Like, that's just not a thing.
Let's do science experiments and go feed the birds, guys, and let's lay down and look at the clouds.
Yeah, that goes away. So, I don't know. I think that she's making a decision. This is her problem. This is like an accountability thing. Like, you are the one who has to get over this. And if he's doing, like you said, everything that he needs to be doing to show you changed action and you're not willing to let it go, you don't need to be together. So,
all right. So this person lives 3 hours away. He comes home on the weekends, so when he's not present, it really hits hard. He only acted not present when that girl was active on his phone. I have a war inside my head that just because he's acting that way doesn't mean there's something going on in the background, but it still throws a huge red flag feeling for me.
Have you asked him why he's not present?
Yeah.
Because that's a really simple thing to do.
Right. If all you guys are doing is arguing about what happened, I would also disengage.
Or just assume.
What do you mean? Assume.
Are we going to do this all fucking day? You can give me the silent treatment for 8 hours. I haven't been giving you the silent treatment. I've been processing our argument. Oh. Well, fuck. I've been giving you the silent treatment for 8 hours because I thought you were giving me one. Because that's assuming.
Yeah.
Instead of going, hey, I can tell you're off right now. What's up?
Right.
Let's probe. Let's find out what's really going on, because you not being okay means I'm not okay. Hey, I can tell that we get 2 days a week together and you are really spacing the fuck out. Is your mental health okay? Like, you got some work stress? Are you stressed about money? What's going on with you right now? Like, talk to me, babe. It's a whole different conversation than, oh, he's being quiet. He's standoffish. She ain't talking to me like she normally does. What did I do wrong? She's fucking somebody else. This is that meme where he's laying in bed at night thinking about things and she's rolled over with her back to him. Bet he's thinking about other women. Wonder why the timing on the engine's doing the thing.
Yeah.
Really hope that my fucking boss signs off on that raise. I could really use that extra $30,000 a year.
Like, I can't wait to buy my wife the house that she's always wanted.
Could be a whole lot of things. My brain goes 1,000 miles a minute sometimes, and I fucking struggle to even keep pace to have a conversation with you. There are days like this morning after we worked out, I came in there and sat down and we had an hour-long conversation that was 55 fucking topics, and none of them got resolved. There was no resolution to any of the conversation that we had because I was cartwheeling through topics because that's what my brain does.
Right.
It's fucking exhausting sometimes. So if I seem distant, that's normally what's going on in my head.
Just a bunch of things running through it.
I'm trying to navigate life the best that I can right now. I am doing the best I fucking can. And if you just assume that I'm off or depressed and that's not what's going on, and you don't go, hey, babe, what's going on? You seem very disconnected right now. And I can go, really? Well, here's what's going on. And then I can word vomit.
Right.
And now you know exactly what's going on with me. And maybe you can problem solve. And now we are more connected than we were when we had that conversation because you asked what was going on. Did you hear any of that? Because you look very confused right now.
I did.
Okay. What's going on with your fingers?
I don't know. There's something on the back of this. And I don't know if it's like cocoa butter or cake frosting, but it's something.
Both of them are plausible.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So I would also like to point out that that's a you thing.
Yes.
That is something that you have control over. You can't control how disconnected he is in the moment, but you can control your conversation with him to find out why he's disconnected.
You can't control his disconnection in the moment, but you can control your engagement.
Right. And your understanding of why he's disengaged. I don't understand why people are so uncomfortable with probing questions.
I sit in your lap. Just out of the blue. I will just disrupt your day. Right.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
If I don't ask, I can't know. There's a peace in that for me. Knowing that I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you, and I don't care if it upsets you. Because if I don't know what's going on, I can't help. I can't empathize even. If you're having a hard day and you can't tell me you're having a hard day, why are we doing this? Because we're supposed to be a team right now, right? So like, are we living as roommates that play house when it's convenient? Because they're not even living as roommates. They're living separate.
Oh, right. 3 hours away from each other.
And the time that they have together, the time is there but not present.
Yeah.
What's really going on? You need to have the discussions.
Yeah.
We can assume that there's a little bit of butthurt there still, and that little bit of disconnect makes her feel like something else is going on, and she's assuming a whole lot of shit, and it's making things worse. I wonder how long it'll be before he stops coming over on the weekends. I don't have the mental wherewithal to deal with this shit today. I know I'm going to come over there. I'm going to drive 3 hours. I'm going to get to spend one night with her. And I'm going to come home the next day because I got to work on Monday. So Saturday and Sunday are my times. So I got a 6-hour commute so that I can go there and fucking argue with her over whatever it is that she's wanting to argue about or how she's going to be. How about I never know what version of her I'm going to get? I'm going to come home for the weekend and have a great fucking weekend with her. Maybe the kids will come see me. Maybe I'll get to see the grandkids. But that's not guaranteed. I don't know how this is going to go. Do I really want to go and deal with this today?
That's one of my biggest fears.
Of what?
You thinking, what version of her am I going to get today?
I don't think that that'll ever be a thing with us.
Yeah.
I believe that that'll never be a thing with us because we're so open about what's going on. I would rather you tell me you're splitting and I'm the problem of your splitting. Like I'm the focus of the hate right now. Or the dislike. I'm no longer your favorite person. Than to be sitting in silence, not knowing what's going on. And you know that.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and because we've actually lived that, and I didn't freak out about it. And I was just like, well, that sucks because I've been there. Is there anything I can do to like help? Otherwise, I just have to fucking weather the storm with you. That's a whole lot more comforting than not knowing. And because of the way we've come to each other with things, and it's not been a fuck you, and there's not been big blowups or reactionary situations, there's not a fear in saying these things.
Right.
I just don't have that fear, but you've not trained that fear in me. There's still baggage from previous situations where I have issues, and I'm like, I'm not comfortable saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. That's a tool though.
Yeah.
Because if I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this, and I say it anyways, and you react poorly, you knew I wasn't comfortable saying it. You're training me not to say that shit in the future because I am uncomfortable, and you're fucking reacting poorly to the situation.
That's been real conversations that we've had too. You've hit me with, I'm kind of scared to tell you this right now, but I'm going to tell you it anyway. Yeah. And you do. I'm like, babe, that's no big deal. And you're like, I really thought that you were going to get mad and flip out. And
there was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the training that I talked about.
Right.
You teach your person how to handle you. And people get so fucking hung up on the teaching and the handling, the training and the handling. It is training and handling. What the fuck do you think the courting phase is? And the relationship building and all of the life experiences. If you touch a hot stove, you know not to touch the stove anymore. If you bring a problem to your woman and she fucking twisted it and manipulates you with it, you don't bring your problems to your woman anymore. Yeah. If you go to your man and you try to get change and he stops trying to meet the request for connections and you have to start nagging and treating him like you're his mother, eventually you're not going to want to come to him about shit anymore because it doesn't change. What's the fucking point?
Right.
You train people how to deal with you. If you have a boss who's really fucking cool and a boss who's a dick, you're less likely to go to the boss who's a dick, and they know that. But the boss who's really fucking cool, you're going to go to with everything. And they've cultivated that relationship. That cultivation of the relationship is no different than your marriage. You guys got to do better with that shit. You need to be able to be completely 100 with your person. And if you can't be 100 with your person, it's a fucking problem.
It is. This is the last part of the email. I understand that part of this is my healing journey, but when he gets angry about my lingering insecurity/mistrust, inwardly I question if he's just tired of dealing with the issues or if it's a guilty conscience.
Or he's tired of dealing with you while you are going through that.
Yeah. So for some context, this email was sent in October of last year. They had the break in January of this year. And then this was sent April 11th. So we're looking at about less than 6 months.
So they broke up or got divorced in January, which that's a really fast fucking divorce.
Well, no, in January, hang on, let me go back. We got back together about 1.5 years ago.
Okay, so then, all right, I'm wrong then.
Fast forward to this past January, and that's when she saw the heart emoji, "You're welcome, love," because he picked out her hairstyle.
So he's still talking to this chick.
Maybe.
Or did she go back and find it? Was she digging back through shit that was 1.5 years old on his Facebook? Because that's a different conversation too. You're looking for a problem.
Yeah. I didn't think about that because it doesn't say when it happened.
Right.
2 weeks ago, he commented this.
Right. Well, that's a different conversation because they're still interacting and they had a thing.
Right.
Like, why is she still asking him about her hairstyle now if that's no longer a thing? Right? There's still something there if that's a thing. I believe that. Like, truly believe that. If they're still talking and he's dictating her hairstyle, they're still fucking.
Yeah. So it is the Facebook chick. Because a few months prior on his birthday, that Tinder message came through. Then they exchanged birthday presents for him on his birthday. So January, I'm assuming January is when all this devastation happened. She found out all of these things. Yeah, and now we're in April, and this is still a problem.
Can I ask you a question? And you be completely honest with me.
Okay.
I know I can, but I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to just be as forthcoming as possible.
Okay.
And I don't care how it sounds. I don't care what they think. I want to know like a true statement from you. If you did something that I didn't like, and we had a discussion about it, and we moved past it, the next day, day after, things go back to being normal. And a week or two goes by and I bring it up again and I pick a fight or I'm having an insecurity and it's just a disruption of our day and it just makes the day not good. How about that? Because that's a very less extreme.
Okay, so this isn't something that we just bounce back from like we usually do. It like the whole day is in the trash now.
Everything that we do, we bounce back from quickly.
Right.
But let's assume it was something like this. Let's say that you trying to give an example about something that's happened, but we haven't had those kind of things. And I don't want to give past experiences. I'm trying to think of.
Say I go to a bar Friday night.
Okay. And somebody flirts with you and you exchange Instagrams. How about that? Because I know that wouldn't happen, but let's say that happened. And I see that you're talking to some dude on Instagram and there's an inappropriate thing said and it was unchecked and it bothered me and you apologize. You deleted them from your social media and like we were trying to get on with our life. At some point, me bringing that shit up is going to be a problem in our marriage.
Right.
How long are you willing to let that go on before you finally go, okay, enough is enough. You either need to trust me or move the fuck on with your life. How long are you going to let that go? While you're thinking about that, how about it happened, I caught it while you were on your Instagram, or you even, how about you fucking told me? What are you smiling at? Because you're over there grinning ear to ear while messaging. Oh, a guy I met at the bar sent me this Scottish Highland cow thing, and it's prancing and it's cute. I didn't know you met a guy at a bar. Why'd you exchange their Instagram? And we have this whole thing, and I'm hurt by it because it was hidden from me or omitted. Because that's kind of similar, right?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this relationship. I would like you to delete that guy. And you're like, well, he's not doing anything wrong. That alone tells me that you're getting something from that relationship that you're not getting from me. Right? And you don't care that I'm feeling insecure about it. You could just simply delete it and that be the end of it.
Right.
You're choosing to make an argument for the reason that you want to keep this relationship with him regardless of our marriage.
Okay.
So, and I get over that even, right? At some point I continue to go, hey, can I see your phone? And you give me your phone and I go through the Instagram messages of this guy. And this happens for a couple of weeks. And like every time I think about this, you have to pay the sin over and over and over again. How long are you going to tolerate that before you finally go enough is enough?
It depends on, are you being nasty about it?
Eventually. How about I'm not? How about you are just taking it that way?
I'm taking it as you being nasty going through my phone.
It's disrupting our day. However it comes across, the issue is that it's interrupting our time together. How about that? Doesn't matter how it comes across, whether you're taking it that way or I'm intentionally being that way. That moment fucks up our entire day, or fucks up our lunch break, or fucks up the time that we should be spending together in peace.
6 months.
You go 6 months? Would you really actually go that long?
So in my mind, 3 to 6 months would be long-term life confirmation, right?
Okay.
So if up to the 3-month mark, you are going through it, every little thing triggers you and you want to check my phone, I understand. That could have been a massive trauma, subconsciously, whatever it was, our trust is now broken. From the 3 to the 6 month mark, I would expect to start seeing improvement of, hey, babe, I just want to let you know that I just wanted to look through your phone, but I'm going to trust you right now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I would be, if there's not improvement and signs that trust is now being allocated back, and it's just continuing to be a topic of argument or disruption or a way for you to get your raw emotion out to feel better in the moment, I'm not doing that.
Okay. So I have had my new truck for almost 3 months.
Okay.
And it feels like a lot fucking longer than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you still stand by that statement after realizing how long we've had that truck? Because a lot has changed in 3 months. We've had a whole lot of life shit happen in 3 months. So if that's happening on a weekly basis over the next 12 weeks, which is the time frame that I've had that truck,
right?
Would you have wanted to live that way?
If it's progressively getting worse, no.
Well, what does getting better look like? Just that one example?
So let's say so we're going to break this down to the 3 months. For the first month, for the first week, I'd be okay with once or twice a day checking just to satiate the anxiety of it because that's a very fresh wound. By the second week, I would hope that it's died down to checking maybe 3 or 4 times a week instead of once or twice every single day. And then going into, oh, that's just the first month. Yeah, I would expect by the end of the first month, it's going to be down to at least 2 to 3 times a week of checking my phone. Into the 2-month mark, of course, there's other things. I would imagine messages are being checked, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, all of that. And I would want it to be a joint thing together, like us sitting down. If you wanted to check my phone by yourself, like locked in a closet, I'm not okay with that. Because there are certain things, like you're not going to read the messages between my sister and I.
Right. It's none of my business.
Right. So, and if you do come across something that I thought was completely appropriate and you did not, I want to have a conversation about that. And I want to be able to work through it in the moment so I know what you're going through and what the problem is. And so by the 3-month mark, I would expect there to still be the open phone policy and checking things and locations being shared.
Our locations are shared anyways.
I know. I mean, that's a safety thing on my end. I thoroughly worried about getting kidnapped. Or abducted. Abducted is the word. I am concerned about getting abducted.
Well, me sharing my location with you has nothing to do with any of that.
I know.
And I'm overweight and hard to kidnap.
Yeah.
So abducted.
So by the 3-month mark, I would expect there to be healthy conversations about the emotions that are brought up if something is triggering, or I would expect there to be healthy conversations. If there are not healthy conversations by the end of the first month, no, scratch that. If we aren't having healthy conversations about the relationship and what you're feeling and all of that during the check-ins by the 3rd week of the first month, we're going to need to really start evaluating if you actually want to forgive me on this. If we are just by week 3 are just, it's screaming matches and you're emotional and you're get out but don't leave. Very clearly, I have hurt you. I'm sorry that I've done this. You need space. Because this is not who you are. I have made you. My actions have broken you, and I am so sorry. I'm not going to live life like that. I can see the first 2 weeks being very emotionally tumultuous because the emotions are raw and autopilot's kicking in for self-preservation. If by the end of the first month there's still massive arguments, there would be an evaluation of the relationship ending.
I think I agree with that in terms of time frames. But my brain doesn't work like yours does, right? Mm-hmm. Like this is one of those things where you and I are very different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't check your phone. I wouldn't go through your phone. If that was a situation, I'd be like, I would like you to delete that person. And you're like, okay, I deleted them. I'm taking you for your word at it, which is gullible, right? But I believe internally that if we're going to make this work, I still have to trust you.
Right.
Because if I can't trust that you're going to follow through to do the things that I've asked you to do, because I'm actually asking for that, and if you tell me no and you're not willing to do it, then that tells me where I stand and I'm not a priority in your life anymore.
Yep.
Which becomes a whole different discussion in itself. And that alone is going to get me called controlling, but whatever. I'm not going to stay where I'm not a priority. Mm-hmm. So in a roles reverse situation where that happened and I caught all of that and I wanted you to delete that person, from my standpoint, I'm not digging through your phone. I'm not. I'm going to ask you when the last time you talked to that person was. And if you're like, oh, I don't know, it's been since before you asked me to delete them. And then I find out later that you've been lying to me this entire time. That's the confirmation I need. The hurt sucks. But if we've had a really dope life this entire time and I'm living in the moment, in the right now, and I have to cross that bridge in the future, am I going to be hurt? Absolutely. But I'm not going to hurt myself every day until I get to that bridge just to find that it's going to be the case. I'm going to live my fucking life day by day until that bridge is a reality. And if that bridge never becomes a reality, I'm not paying that debt until that bridge becomes a reality. I'm not getting involved in disrupting my peace. I'm going to live my life knowing that you're going to do what you want to do, whether I feel that way or not. I'm not going to obsess and fucking make your life hell and make my life hell dwelling on something that is a hypothetical.
Right.
What if? Well, what if? If it becomes reality, I'll worry about it when it becomes reality. Until then, I'm not going to disrupt my fucking world over my brain telling me that something's not right. And if I can't get over that, then this doesn't need to be a thing because I don't trust you.
Right. I agree with that. I wouldn't check your phone either. I've hurt myself too many times doing that. So I agree with you. In order to gain my trust back, I have to trust that you're going to follow through with the things that I request.
Yeah. And the conversations have to happen, right?
Right.
I just derailed your train.
I'm back. If all of that happens and you love me the way that you say you love me, the hurt and the devastation you've caused me is punishment enough. Because you will be able to visibly see how hurt I am. And if it's agreed upon that we're going to try to make this relationship work, you're going to have to live with a healing version of myself.
But what does that look like?
What do you mean?
Well, what does that look like?
A healing version of me?
Right.
I'm not going to be goofy. I mean, I'm going to try my best, but a strong part of me is going to want to withdraw from you, and I'm going to have to fight that. You're going to get... So you know on my hard days when I'm going through it and I go out of my way to make sure I'm still loving up on you, it's going to be like that, but you're going to be able to tell that there's a very conscious effort that I'm trying not to be cold to you right now.
Right.
You can tell when a meal hasn't been made with love, and it's going to feel like that for a little bit. Because at that point, I'm trying to work on my love, getting back into it. This is me trying to maintain the lifestyle that I want. Right? Like when I'm depressed, I get up and I still take a shower and I still brush my teeth. I'm still going to get up. I'm going to give my husband a kiss. I'm going to tell him that I love him. But you're not going to get the full version of me until I heal myself. And I couldn't tell you how long that would take. But there would definitely still be effort on my end. I'm still going to be your wife. Just going to be a duller version of it for a little bit while I recuperate.
Yeah. I think that's to be expected.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. But I also think that has to... I think that even on that level, there's a conversation that would be had of how long that goes on.
Yeah.
Because if that lasts for a year, the person that I married, regardless of the actions being my own... I'm now with somebody that's not the person that I married.
Yeah.
Right? So like that's a conversation that has to be had too. You can't punish your husband or your wife. That's not punishment is not how life works.
No.
If you are punishing somebody for that long of a time frame, that is intentional manipulation.
Did I use the word punishment?
No,
okay.
I'm using that term.
Because I want to clarify like the version, because you are painting out a version that people do.
Right.
Where there's manipulation. I want to clarify that my version is a kind of like a meditative retreat.
Right. You said that you would pull away but still try.
Right, yeah.
The still try is the important part of that conversation. You pulling away is to be expected. I'm hurt. Right. And because I'm hurt, I'm not going to be my normal self because I'm hurt right now.
Yeah.
And you got to understand that I'm hurt, but I'm still going to try. I'm still going to kiss you in the good morning. I'm still going to say I love you when I hang the phone up. And if something triggers that hurt, I'm going to let you know like, hey, this just happened. It made me remember this thing. It still kind of stings.
Steer clear of me for 45 minutes.
Right. That's normal, healthy communication. That's really good communication. But to relive that moment in your brain, search the phone, start an argument, be fucking cold. What's wrong? Nothing.
You know what you did.
Right. That kind of shit is punishment. You are intentionally making the other person hurt because you're hurting. That's not sustainable.
Right.
People are not going to live where they're not wanted for a long duration of time. He's there, but he's not present.
Yeah.
There's a prime example of that. Regardless of it being my actions, if I was the one that did that and I'm having to deal with you being hurt, I have to live with the consequences of that. I also have to decide how much of that I'm willing to tolerate. Because if you say you're going to forgive me and we're going to move past this, and your actions are showing me that you are not moving past this while I am doing all the work to move past this, we are not balanced. Because I'm doing the work to change. As she said, he's making the effort. I can see he's making the effort, but I'm not. How long do I have to eat shit while you get to ride the carriage of he's wrong, he owes me this, he has to suck it the fuck up while I process my shit versus you doing what you said.
Right.
I am still going to try, even though I'm hurting.
I wouldn't put up with any of that shit, period. If that is that person's mindset of, say, 3 days after the initial conversation is had, and that person does something super shitty and they cause an argument because they're hurt and they go, you just have to live with this because you did this to me, I'm going to walk away from that. I'm sorry that I did you dirty and that is how you feel that you need to solve this situation. I'm good. I am genuinely remorseful for what I've done to you, and I want to do everything that I can to make this work because I love you. And you want to turn this into an excuse to be really shitty to me. I'm good on that. That mindset's very scary to me. It gives me almost what's the word? The people who enjoy hurting other people.
Sadist?
I think that's sadist, maybe.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. Why would that be your focus in healing? Is hurting the other person?
Well, hurt people want people to feel what they're feeling. Hurt people hurt people. That's very much a thing.
Yeah, it is.
But but again, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I need to know, like, where does that line draw for you?
Where does that line draw for me?
Well, how does that look? Okay, so let's say you actually did something that fucking hurt me, and I'm not able to check myself, and I'm being an asshole.
Right. Okay. So say
you go 3 days because I'm just being a dick. Well, you know what you fucking did. I'm not over it yet. Like, of course I'm mad still.
Right.
I would never act that way. I would withdraw.
Right.
I would withdraw. I would get quiet. That's who I am as a person. I don't like conflict in my home.
Yeah.
I would rather protect the peace in the house and try to make things smooth, even if I am withdrawn, like you said, because that's normal. You're going to tell that I'm not okay, but I'm damn sure not inflicting fucking wounds on you while I'm doing it. How is that going to fix anything? So where does that line draw, and how long does that work? How long are you going to allow somebody to treat you like that? If it was me,
right,
and I was being a dick to you like that, you know what you fucking did. How long are you going to tolerate that?
Once.
And how's that going to play out?
You will speak to me like that once, and I will say, babe, I deserve that. I get it, and I'm sorry. That was your raw emotion, and that's the one time you get to speak to me that way. Would you actually hold to that? I would.
I loved that.
Because there are times where, with the children, where I'm in a hyper panic state and I'm just doing a bunch of shit. And say I'm not paying attention to one of the kids, and then they yell at me. Don't yell at me. Well, you weren't listening to me. You're right. I deserve that. Because I do that to you guys. When you're not paying attention to me and you're causing a ruckus and you're screaming and yelling, I raise my voice to get your attention. So I would hold to that. You get that one.
How does it look after that?
After that, it's I am doing everything that you've asked of me. And I like to think that I'm going above and beyond. I understand that forgiveness is a very hard gift to give. And I appreciate you working on it the way that you're working on it. Because we're speaking about you and you being my husband in the past that you had, logically, I would know that at some point another autopilot slip is like that is going to happen and you're going to snap. I would suggest a safe word specifically for that situation because you're hurt, different from any other safe word in our life, to where you're getting shitty with me and I say kiwi. And if you don't abide by that kiwi and you just keep going in and you blame me for this massive verbal assault, I didn't marry this man.
Okay, so then what do you say to the people who would say I have the right to express my hurt?
You do have the right to express your hurt. When your hurt turns into, you're so fucking stupid, I can't believe you've done this to me, you are now in turn an abuser.
It's an attack. Yes, it is.
You know, I had a thought this morning, and this is a branch off of the main conversation. I had a thought this morning, at what point are we going to admit that abused moms become abusers to their children in some instances?
Well, we know that's the case.
Right.
Science has proven that.
Right.
So
because you were cheated on, and some people can view that as an abuse, right? If somebody's a serial cheater and they're manipulating emotions, and I cheat on you because you're a piece of shit, and then you get into a new relationship, and a lot of the times, common denominator is you. A person will follow a pattern when it gets to choosing their mate, when it comes to choosing their mate. So it'll be the same characteristic flaws with a different mask on. So eventually, the new partner will also cheat. But for some reason, this person recognized that they really fucked up in cheating on this person, right? And they are super remorseful and they are so sorry. And the person that was cheated on falls back into the victim of the prior partner who serial cheated and continuously blamed because it's your fault, I'm cheating on you. And are now turning around and verbally berating the new partner who has already admitted ownership and fault and genuine remorse and changed action. And you start telling that person, you're a piece of shit. And I get to call you a piece of shit because you cheated on me.
Right.
You are the exact same person as the abuser who called you that.
Right. It's eye for an eye shit.
Right. That there is no difference in that to me. Yeah.
I think it's really important to remember, because I was asking you about that, back to the original conversation.
Yep.
That just because bad things happen in your marriage does not give you the right to attack and abuse your person.
Right.
Which is why when I get frustrated, I get silent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Me too.
It is a processing thing. Like I know I don't want to yell at you, right? I know I don't want to come at you sideways. I know that I want to have my thoughts laid out so that I can very clearly tell you what I need. Mm-hmm. Because if I can't tell you what I need and I'm beating around the bush and I don't fucking know what I need, that's not fair to you to have to try to figure out what the fuck I need.
Right.
Like that's a me problem. Mm-hmm. So I need to try to be as forthcoming and clear and concise with what I fucking need to make that a thing. And if I can't do that, we don't need to fight or argue, and I definitely don't need to be taking it out on you.
Right.
Right? I'm just having a bad day, babe. I'll get over this. Mm-hmm. That's a very different conversation, and I can't fucking believe you did that to me, and I'm still mad about it.
Right.
This is eye for an eye shit. This is why I use the term punishment, mm-hmm. because that's what that is. If you did something that I didn't like, and I intentionally treated you poorly so that you understood your behavior was wrong, I am punishing you. That is me punishing your actions by making you unhappy because I'm unhappy. That's a punishment. Mm-hmm. So I use the term punishment intentionally because I do view it that way.
Yeah.
If we have a communication, we sit down and you did this and it hurt me. This is why it hurt me. I want to make sure that moving forward we don't do this again, and this is what I need from you. And I understand all of it, and I'm able to articulate that back. Tomorrow, you don't get to yell at me over that. We had the conversation. Correct. We have the resolution. I know what I need to do to work on it. You don't get to dangle that over my head anymore because now you're punishing me.
Yep.
At some point, it goes from punishment to revenge, and that's a very different fucking thing altogether. Mm-hmm. But that line is very fucking thin and blurry in a whole lot of spaces.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I
have to get going soon.
Yeah, it's 1:53. Well, this is, with the 20 minutes we're cut, we still an hour and a half in.
Okay, don't.
It's a lot to process. This whole thing is a lot. This is a shitty situation, but as always, guys, we tell you that you can't control the other person. You can only control you.
Yep.
And we can give you advice on how to do things and way to approach situations. And hopefully we've given you ideas on ways that you can approach this, but ultimately this is a you problem. And if you think that he's not doing things to change the situation, the way that I would approach that for those of you who are in similar situations is to approach it from a new standpoint, to make him understand what you're feeling so that he understands and wants to change. Mm-hmm. And if you guys can't come to that understanding, there's no point in moving forward with your relationship or marriage.
Right.
Because you guys don't get each other. And you are always going to have this underlying crack in the foundation. And you don't want a crack in your foundation because those don't heal themselves. your foundation is going to continue to split apart, and eventually you're not going to be solid.
Yeah.
So I view the foundation metaphor as if you have a crack in your foundation, which is currently what's happening, the conversation is the new cement that you're going to put in there, the Quikrete, to fucking fix the crack, or epoxy and then paint, or whatever it is that you're going to do to bring that back together and adhere it. You have to do that work. But you're not punishing the other side. How dare you for being broken? Because you're going to break the other side a whole lot fucking more while trying to maintain your own brokenness.
Right.
It's not punishment. It's not revenge. It's communication. Try to fix the problem. And if you can't fix the problem, this isn't your fucking person.
Yep.
Sometimes that wedge gets too far gone that it's a whole lot harder to fix than when it's a tiny little crack. And you need to address it while it's starting to crack versus when there's a wedge driven between it.
Yep.
I guess since you have to go, we can wrap it up. We don't have to add anything else.
Okie dokie. Are you going to be here when I get home?
Probably. I might be editing tonight. I haven't eaten yet today other than that bar. I'm fucking starving. So
Yeah, I was thinking about stopping and picking up food on the way home with the kids.
Okay. With that being said, guys, remember that life is a choice.
So choose to be better.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.